Joining us now to share his views of Madiba is Richard Pike, Chief Executive of Adcorp. Richard, corporate South Africa really coming to the fore today, wanting to send out their condolences and reflect on the legacy that Madiba has left behind. What are the sentiments that you want to share with the world regarding the legend that is Madiba?
Yeah, thanks and good afternoon. And firstly, just to express my condolences to the Mandela family in this very sad time. But yeah, as you say, outpouring of emotion from lots of people, not just corporate South Africa. But you know, just what was very interesting, if I sort of reflect on my own experiences for probably the best part of half of my life, he was really a mythical character. We heard of this character, we didn't know anything about him. And obviously during his incarceration, we had no exposure to him. And then the man was released, and amazingly, he just sort of leapt into our hearts very quickly. I think he had a value system that everyone identified with. He was amazing in terms of the forgiveness and reconciliation that he expounded, and I think that resonated with everybody. And it's amazing, you know, we now hear the sad news of his passing, but it feels like he's been with us forever. And I think as South Africans, we are very honored to have lived in his time, to have shared in his legacy, and we will remember that. And I think that the legacy that he's bestowed on South Africa is something we should all be extremely grateful for.
Of course, Richard, this is Nozipho sitting here in Johannesburg with Gugu. Now, one of the many interesting things that you've come in the media spotlight for is for having your pulse on perhaps South Africa's most stubborn challenge, and that is, of course, being the unemployment rate that we see plaguing the country. As we seek to celebrate the legacy that this icon has left for us, what do you think that the country should be focusing on in particular to turn around this rather persistent structural challenge?
You know, I think if you look at the unemployment problem, it's a problem that is shared by business, by government and labour. We all have a duty to do our bit and to contribute. And I think where we have fallen short is there's a lot of mistrust between those three parties. And, you know, I think that the social dialogue has been impacted negatively from the point of view that there is parochialism between those various parties, and they obviously all bring their own agenda to the table and mistrust each other. You know, I think if we were to honour the legacy of Mr. Mandela, and in the spirit of reconciliation and nation building, you know, if we could get the social dialogue going whereby people bury that parochialism and put the interests of the unemployed at the forefront, you know, I think that would be a great way to honour that legacy. And that's something that I pray for, is that the social dialogue in this country reaches that level of maturity whereby there is trust between the parties. There's a common interest in addressing the needs of the unemployed, and as I say, we bury that parochial hatchet that I believe does exist.
Richard, before you go, it brings me to a comment that was shared by Chris Hart of Investment Solutions earlier today. He said that countries at war don't complain about potholes. And that's something in South Africa that we do, and perhaps it symbolizes just how stable Mandela's legacy, or rather the stability that his legacy has offered to a country like South Africa. Do you perhaps agree with those sentiments?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I like that comment. And, you know, South Africa, I always said we are a country of whingers. But that's not a bad thing, because I think we hold high standards, and so we do complain about the little things. But you know, the peace dividend that we achieved in 1994 is nothing short of a miracle, and you know, huge gratitude is obviously owed to Mr. Mandela for the part that he played, and I'm confident that without his role in that, we wouldn't have had the same outcome.
For you, there, Richard, when you received the news, the key thoughts that plagued your mind that you had to grapple with, and how this impacted you on a personal level?
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard the news last night. I was actually out at a party and got into the car. And as I got in the car, I heard the president announcing this news, and obviously he was very saddened by it. But you know, I suppose it's something that we've kind of expected, and it's a day that I've dreaded. And you know, I think it is sad, but importantly, I think that we should celebrate and you know, to the extent that we can, you know, sharing the joy that Mr. Mandela was and the legacy that he is. So yeah, you know, I think that he would probably want us to be joyous, to celebrate, but I think most importantly, to live the values that he espoused.
Well, thank you so much to Richard Pike there. That's the Chief Executive of Adcorp.